Hello everyone, have you ever noticed how a simple hug can sometimes leave a lasting impression? One that lingers in the mind long after the moment is gone. There's something so powerful and intimate about that physical connection, isn't there? Yet so often, we respond to hugs almost on autopilot, quick smile, a brief squeeze, then we move on. But what if I told you that how you respond to a hug could make him think of you in a way that stays with him, creating a magnetic pull he can't shake off? It's not about fancy moves or rehearsed gestures. It's about subtle shifts in energy presence and emotional resonance. A hug is more than just a greeting or a goodbye. It's an invitation to connect on a deeper level. And the way you receive it, your body language, your breath, your gaze, can open a door to a shared moment that feels electric, memorable, and even transformative. Imagine him walking away from that hug feeling a quiet warmth that settles in his chest, a feeling so compelling that he finds himself thinking about you long after, wondering what it was about that embrace that felt so different, so uniquely you. This is the kind of response that cultivates attraction beyond words, a kind of emotional imprint that sticks. In this conversation, I want to explore with you how responding to a hug isn't just a physical act, but a dance of connection that can deepen intimacy, spark desire, and make you unforgettable. Together, we'll uncover the nuances, from slowing down time in the moment, to the power of your subtle touch, to the way your presence speaks volumes without saying a word. This isn't about playing games, it's about embracing your authentic self in a way that naturally draws him closer, emotionally, mentally, and yes, physically. So if you've ever wished you could make your presence more magnetic, or wondered how to leave a lasting impression in those brief moments of closeness, this conversation is for you. Let's dive into the art of responding to a hug like it's more than just a hug, like it's the start of something that keeps him thinking of you long after you part. Let's start by stepping into a scene you probably know all too well. You're standing there, and he reaches out to hug you. Maybe it's after a long day, or a brief hello at the door, or a goodbye at the end of a date. That moment, it's fleeting, but carries so much potential. Yet how often do we truly feel the hug? How often do we respond to it in a way that feels fully present, fully engaged, fully alive? I want to invite you to slow down with me for a moment, because responding to a hug, really responding, is a way of telling a story without words. It's a language of connection that goes deeper than the surface. It's how you make him remember you, not just as the woman he hugged, but as the woman who made him feel something. Now, what does it mean to respond in that way? First, it means showing up in your body, not just leaning in mechanically, but consciously opening yourself to the exchange. The way you position your body, the softness of your arms, the length of your embrace, these subtle choices send messages. Are you guarded? Are you rushed? Or are you inviting him into a space of warmth and vulnerability? Let's pause here and think about this. When you hug someone, your body has the power to communicate openness or distance. A hug that lasts just a few seconds might be polite, but a hug where you linger, even just a heartbeat longer, can speak volumes. It says, I'm here, I'm present, I'm connected. That extra moment is where the magic lives. The second part of responding meaningfully is how you use your breath and your awareness. Do you breathe together with him? Or are you holding your breath, anxious to pull away? Breathing slowly and deeply in that moment grounds you, makes the hug feel intimate and real. It's almost as if your breath is whispering, I see you, I feel you. And finally, your gaze matters more than you might think. Even in the briefest hug, where your face may not be in full view, a softening in your eyes or a gentle glance before or after the hug adds a layer of emotional connection. It's the unspoken invitation to stay present in his mind long after the embrace ends. You see, this is not about playing hard to get or putting on a show. It's about tuning into your own feelings and responding with authenticity. When you do that, your energy shifts, and he feels it, even if he can't put it into words. So, the next time you hug him, try this. Don't rush it. Lean in fully. Soften your arms like a warm invitation. Breathe deeply, and let your eyes carry the message of presence. You'll be surprised how much more electric and memorable that moment becomes. Now, as we move forward, let's explore how the quality of touch, the way your hands move, the pressure you apply, the little nuances of skin on skin, can deepen this connection even more. Because a hug isn't just a hug, it's an opportunity to make him think of you every time he remembers that touch. Now that you've felt how presence and breath can transform a hug, let's talk about the texture of that touch, because how you hold him physically can change everything. Think about the last time you hugged someone who really mattered to you. Did your hands just rest passively, or did they move with intention? When you respond to a hug like this, your hands are not just limbs, they become messengers of care, desire, and connection. Instead of wrapping your arms around him as if you're closing a door, try imagining your hands as gentle explorers, fingertips tracing subtle, comforting paths across his back or shoulders. That light, deliberate touch does two things. It creates a sense of safety, but also hints at something deeper, something intimate. It's a contrast. The hug becomes a blend of warmth and subtle invitation, a push and pull that keeps his attention even after you part. And don't underestimate the power of variation. Sometimes a firm, steady hold can ground him, make him feel supported and anchored. Other times, a lighter, almost feather-like touch can spark curiosity and desire. When you vary your pressure naturally, you're sending him messages he can feel but not quite explain. That's the kind of mystery that keeps him thinking about you. It's like a dance with his senses, a conversation without words. Now there's another layer to this moment that often goes unnoticed. Your intentionality. When you respond to a hug, it's easy to think it's just a reflex. But what if you made it a ritual? A moment where you check in with yourself and ask, what do I want to say without words? What do I want to share in this embrace? When you answer those questions honestly, your whole being shows up, your heart, your mind, your body, and that authenticity is magnetic. Men are incredibly sensitive to emotional honesty, even if they don't always express it. So when you allow yourself to be fully present and intentional, you create a connection that goes beyond the surface, a connection that lingers. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're saying goodbye after a date. Instead of a quick distracted hug, you slow down. You wrap him in your arms and rest your forehead gently against his shoulder. You breathe in sync, your hands moving softly along his back. In that moment, you're saying, this moment matters. You matter. And he feels it, not just in his body, but in his heart. That's the kind of response that stays with him. It's like a tiny imprint on his memory, a warm, tender moment that makes him want to come back, to be near you again and again. So, as you practice this kind of hugging, you're actually teaching him a new way of relating. You're showing him that connection isn't just about words or grand gestures. It's in these quiet, meaningful moments of touch and presence. Now, as you get comfortable with this, you might notice your own confidence growing. Because when you give a hug like this, you're not just making him feel special. You're reminding yourself of your own power to connect deeply and authentically. And that's a beautiful thing. It's like you're creating a safe space where both of you can be seen and felt. Next, we'll explore how your energy after the hug, that subtle shift as you part, can leave a lasting impression. Because sometimes it's not just the hug itself, but what happens just before and after that keeps him thinking about you in those quiet moments. There's something almost magical about what happens just after a hug. That brief moment when you part ways, but the energy between you still hums quietly in the air. It's like the last note of a song that lingers, drawing the listener back again and again. How you handle that moment, how you carry yourself as you pull away, can be just as powerful as the hug itself. So let's take a breath together and explore this subtle dance. Imagine you've just finished hugging him. You've softened into the embrace. Your hands have communicated care and warmth. Your breath has been steady and inviting. Now, as you step back, do you do it abruptly? A quick step away, a nervous glance at your phone, a distracted smile? Or do you hold on to the moment just a little longer, your eyes catching his small, genuine smile playing at the edges of your lips? That pause, even if it's just a heartbeat, changes everything. It tells him that what just happened mattered. It signals that your connection isn't something you rush through. It's a silent message that says, you are worth my attention, my presence, my time. In those moments, your body language is like poetry. A slight tilt of your head, a softening of your gaze, a lingering warmth in your smile. These tiny gestures create an emotional afterglow. He doesn't even have to understand why, but he feels it. He feels drawn to you in a way that's more than physical. It's emotional, mental, almost spiritual. Now, here's where the power of presence really shows up again. When you let yourself stay grounded and calm as you part, you're not just giving him a hug, you're giving him a memory. That memory becomes a part of his day, a quiet thread that pulls his thoughts back to you. And that's what makes you unforgettable. But it doesn't stop there. How you carry that energy after the hug, in your voice, your words, your touch, even your silence, can deepen his connection to you. For example, when you speak after a hug, keep your tone warm and soft. It's a subtle cue that the intimacy of the hug hasn't ended with the physical separation. Maybe you say something simple, like take care, or I'm really glad we had this moment. Or maybe your eyes say it all, and words aren't even needed. Sometimes the most powerful communication is in the quiet space between words. Think about it, men often process emotional experiences differently than women. They might not always say what they feel, but they sense it. That lingering warmth you leave after a hug can echo in his mind, sparking feelings of comfort and desire that grow quietly. And here's a secret. When you master this, you're not only making him think of you, you're also inviting him to feel safe with you. Safety, after all, is the foundation of attraction and lasting connection. When a man feels emotionally safe with you, he lowers his guard, opens his heart, and lets his thoughts dwell on you more often. Now, let's explore something that's just as important, how your energy after the hug influences the story he tells himself about you. You see, men have an instinct to assign meaning to their interactions, especially with women they care about. That meaning is shaped not only by what you say or do, but by how you carry yourself. When you respond to a hug with warmth and authenticity, and then part with grace and presence, you create a story in his mind. She is someone who truly connects. She is not in a rush. She values me. I want to be near her. That story becomes a gentle pull that keeps him coming back emotionally, even when you're not around. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect or that every hug needs to be a cinematic moment. Authenticity is the key. Sometimes, the best moments are spontaneous and raw. A hug after a tough day, a quick squeeze in the hallway, a playful embrace that makes you both laugh. What matters is that you show up fully. You bring your whole self, your softness, your curiosity, your vulnerability. And here's another beautiful truth. The way you respond to a hug can also teach you more about yourself. When you slow down, breathe, and allow yourself to really feel that connection, you're tuning into your own needs and desires. You're learning to appreciate intimacy on your own terms. That self-awareness is magnetic. It's the kind of energy that lights you up from within and naturally draws others to you. As you practice these ways of responding, you might notice something shifting in your relationships. Conversations become richer. Moments of closeness feel more meaningful. Even ordinary interactions start to carry a little more warmth and depth, and that in itself is a gift. Remember, connection isn't always about grand gestures or long conversations. Sometimes it's the way you respond to a simple hug that plants the seed for something deeper. It's the quiet invitation to be seen, to be remembered, and to be cherished. So, I encourage you to embrace these moments, to make each hug a little ritual of connection, presence, and intention. When you do, you won't just make him think of you. You'll make him feel you, in his body, his heart, and his mind, long after you've said goodbye. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a hug that stuck with you? One that made you feel seen or desired in a way words couldn't? Or maybe you've tried responding to hugs with more intention and noticed how it changed things. Share your stories or questions in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insights on love, connection, and intimacy. I'm here to guide you through these subtle arts of relationship because you deserve to feel deeply connected and unforgettable. Here's to embracing the power of presence in every hug, every glance, every quiet moment. Here's to making those moments count. As we continue this journey into the art of responding to a hug, let's now consider the energy you bring before and after the hug. Those subtle emotional currents that flow even when words are silent. Have you noticed how sometimes the moments right before a hug can carry an electric charge? Maybe it's a glance that lingers a little longer than usual, or a softening in your voice when you say his name. That anticipation sets the stage for the hug to become something memorable, something that feels almost sacred. It's the invisible thread of connection that pulls you both closer even before your bodies touch. This anticipation is not about playing games or building tension artificially. It's about honoring the natural rhythm of intimacy, the pause before the connection. When you step into that moment with awareness, you create a space where the hug isn't just physical contact but a meeting of souls. Now, when your energy carries that intention, he feels it too. The way you look at him, the way you slow your movements, the way you breathe, all of it signals something deeper. It's like telling him without words, I want to really be here with you. And that invitation makes the hug feel like a shared secret, something intimate and special. After the hug, the way you carry yourself, your presence as you move away, keeps that emotional energy alive. Maybe you walk away slowly, your eyes meeting his once more. Maybe you linger just a second longer, offering a quiet smile or a soft word. Or maybe you simply let the silence between you say what words cannot. All these little details create a kind of emotional echo that stays with him. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine that every hug you share isn't just a brief, mechanical action but a ritual of connection. A moment where both of you can feel truly seen and held. Imagine how that would change your relationships, how it would deepen your sense of closeness and trust. Because here's the truth, intimacy thrives in the small moments. It lives in the way you respond to a hug, in the softness of your touch, in the patience of your presence. It's often said that men and women experience intimacy differently, and while that can be true, there's a universal human desire beneath it all, to be seen, to be valued, to be understood. When you respond to a hug with that in mind, you're not just making him think of you, you're making him feel connected to you on a level that transcends words. And connection like this builds a foundation for something lasting. This leads us to a subtle but powerful insight. How you receive a hug can be just as impactful as how you give one. Have you ever thought about that? Most of us focus on how we initiate hugs or how we express affection outwardly. But being open to receiving a hug, really receiving it, is its own form of intimacy. When you allow yourself to soften into his arms, to relax your muscles, to breathe fully and let your guard down, you're sending a message of trust and vulnerability. That openness invites him to be vulnerable too. It's like saying, I'm safe with you, you're safe with me. And safety is the cornerstone of emotional intimacy. So next time you find yourself wrapped in his embrace, practice receiving the hug with your whole body and heart. Feel the warmth of his touch. Notice the rhythm of his breath. Let yourself be fully present in the moment. That openness will leave an impression deeper than you might expect. Let me share a little story that illustrates this beautifully. A woman once told me about a man she had been dating who was often distracted and busy, but every time they hugged, something shifted. In those moments, he seemed grounded and fully there. She realized that the way she received his hugs, with calm, soft presence, helped him come back to himself. It became their quiet ritual, a reminder that amidst the chaos, there was a safe space for both of them. That's the kind of connection you can create, and it's not about perfection. It's about showing up with your authentic self, with curiosity and kindness. Another piece of this puzzle is how you follow up after a hug. Sometimes what you do next can either deepen the memory of that embrace or let it fade away quickly. For example, a simple text later in the day, maybe just a few words like thinking about you after that hug, or that hug meant a lot to me, can keep the emotional thread alive. It tells him you value the connection and are still holding that moment in your heart. Small gestures like these don't require grand declarations. They're about nurturing the feeling you created in person, letting him know that the warmth you shared lingers. At the same time, be mindful not to overdo it. Authenticity is key. Your words should feel natural and true to you, not like a performance. When you communicate from a genuine place, he senses that and responds accordingly. Now, as you become more attuned to these nuances, the anticipation before the hug, the softness in your touch, the presence in receiving, and the gentle follow-up, you begin to embody a new kind of magnetic energy. It's not flashy or forced. It's quiet, confident, and deeply feminine. This energy is incredibly attractive because it signals emotional maturity, self-awareness, and openness. It tells him that you're not just interested in the surface, but in meaningful connection. And men notice that even when they don't say it aloud. One more thing I want you to remember is that this art of responding to a hug extends beyond romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family connections, and even brief encounters with people who matter. Each hug carries the possibility of deepening your emotional world, of reminding you that connection is a basic human need. So as you practice these ideas, notice how your relationships begin to shift. You might find yourself craving more closeness, more authenticity. You might notice that others respond to you differently, with more warmth, more trust, more curiosity. That's the power of presence and intention. In closing this part, I want you to hold on to this thought. Your response to a hug is a reflection of how you show up in the world. When you embrace connection fully, in your body, your breath, your gaze, your words, you invite others to do the same. You create a space where intimacy can blossom naturally. And that, my dear friend, is how you become unforgettable. As we come to the final part of our conversation, I want to remind you that the way you respond to a hug is more than just a moment. It's a practice, a gentle art that unfolds over time. It's a language your body speaks, your heart feels, and your presence creates. When you embrace this fully, you don't just make him think of you, you make him feel you in a way that lingers deep inside. Now, let's dive into one of the most beautiful aspects of this practice, how your emotional availability after the hug invites deeper connection. Often after a hug, there's a temptation to pull away quickly, to retreat into our busy lives, to hide behind distractions. But what if instead you stayed emotionally open? What if you allowed yourself to be vulnerable just a little longer, even after the physical closeness ends? This openness is like a bridge. It invites him to cross over from the surface of casual interaction to the depth of genuine intimacy. It's not about saying the perfect thing or doing the perfect gesture. It's about showing that you're present, that you're available, that you care. Imagine how powerful that can be. Sometimes the strongest message you can send is in your willingness to simply be, to listen, to hold space, to show that your heart is engaged. And that willingness often begins right after a hug. Think about the moments when you felt truly connected to someone. Chances are it wasn't just the hug itself, but what came afterward, the shared glance, the quiet words, the way you both lingered in the space of closeness. That's the gift you give when you respond to a hug with emotional presence. And here's an invitation: practice staying a little longer in those moments of transition. Instead of rushing away, take a breath and check in with how you feel. Notice the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind, the emotions in your heart. Let yourself be fully there. When you do this, you deepen your own capacity for intimacy. You cultivate a sense of ease with vulnerability, and you teach him, without words, that closeness is safe, natural, and worth savoring. Now, let's explore the subtle power of playfulness in responding to hugs. Because connection doesn't always have to be serious or heavy. It can be light, fun, and filled with laughter. Maybe after a hug, you gently tease him, or share a knowing smile, or whisper something that makes him chuckle. That playful energy adds a layer of delight to your interaction. It reminds him that being with you is not only safe but joyful. Playfulness breaks down walls. It invites spontaneity and freedom, and it keeps your connection fresh and alive. So, As you grow comfortable with the deeper emotional presence, don't forget to sprinkle in moments of lightness and fun. That balance is what makes you irresistible, someone who can hold space for both vulnerability and joy. Another dimension to consider is how your self-worth influences the way you respond to hugs. When you value yourself, you naturally bring confidence and warmth to your embraces. You don't cling or hesitate. You don't doubt your worthiness of affection or connection. Instead, you give and receive hugs as an expression of your authentic self. That kind of groundedness is magnetic. It tells him that you're whole, that you're comfortable in your skin, that you're open to connection without losing yourself. Self-worth creates a space where love can flow freely, where attraction can deepen, where intimacy can blossom. And here's the thing, the way you respond to a hug is a mirror of how you relate to yourself. So nurturing your own sense of worthiness is a vital part of this practice. As you become more aware of this, you might notice old patterns, maybe a tendency to shy away, to hold back, to protect yourself from potential hurt. That's natural, but remember, every hug is also an opportunity to rewrite that story. Each time you open yourself a little more, each time you lean into connection despite fear or doubt, you're healing and growing. You're becoming someone who not only makes him think of you, but makes him want to be near you, because you embody safety, warmth, and authenticity. And that is the deepest kind of attraction. Before we close, I want to invite you to reflect on what you've learned here. Not as a checklist to perfect, but as a gentle invitation to bring more presence, intention, and heart into your everyday moments. Try this. Next time you hug someone you care about, slow down, breathe deeply, soften your touch, let your eyes meet theirs. Feel the connection without rushing away. Notice how it changes your experience and theirs. And remember, this is a practice. You don't have to get it right every time. What matters is your willingness to show up, to be real, to be present. That willingness is what makes you unforgettable. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonated with you, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how you connect through hugs, how you respond, and how it makes you feel. And if you want more insights into building deeper, more meaningful relationships, ones where connection, desire, and intimacy flourish, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to explore together. Here's to the power of presence, to the beauty of authentic connection, and to every hug that reminds us we are seen, valued, and deeply loved. May you carry this knowledge with you, in your arms, your heart, and your soul, as you create moments that stay with him always.